turn off the fan. Okay. Well, here I am in the greenhouse. As you can see, I've been scrounging around out here a little bit. And I want to kind of do a little bit of a review and talk about what I learned this year and let you know what I'm going to do next. So first of all, we decided this year not to grow any tomatoes in the yard. Just none. The hassle factor, we just decided was not worth it. We knew we were going to be busy this year. We're trying to cut back on some of the required manual labor around here and have a little bit more fun, to be honest. A little bit more time to just relax or take a walk or things like that. So, no tomatoes outside. All our tomatoes were inside. They got in later than I wanted them to be. We wound up with a pretty good selection, though. I had a couple of the dwarf tomatoes from Haas, which we were very, very pleased with. Bella Rosa, Haasinator, which is a big beefsteak style tomato from Haas Tools. Amanda Orange, Shelby, which is a paste tomato. I think that's most of them. Shelby, let's see. Shelby. Yeah, I think that's it for tomatoes. We didn't grow like the thousands of varieties we used to grow. For the amount of work we put into it this year, we're psyched. We had as many fresh tomatoes as we could eat all summer. And we have quite a few plastic bags of tomatoes frozen right now, so that once we get into a consistently cool period, I'm going to make tomato sauce. And it won't be a huge amount of tomato sauce. It'll probably only be one batch this year, but it'll probably be a dozen containers or so. And I still have tomato sauce left from years past. So yeah, I'm not concerned about this. Running through things on an individual bucket basis. This was a random bucket, which in the past has been used for mostly, I think it was cucumbers last year, but it's probably been used for an assortment of things over the years. Now, what came up when I was watering these buckets, because there's a stack of buckets over here, and when I was watering some of the buckets because they had something come up in them, I was like, okay, other things came up. So what we wound up in here was this, which is husk cherry. Now, Henry and I really, really love husk cherry. They are so delicious. But our conclusion is they just are not worth it in our environment. They attract cucumber beetles by the bucket load, and they also attract aphids and every other creature known to man that I don't want in my greenhouse. So the answer for next year is no. We will not allow any of these to grow in the greenhouse. That means I'm going to have to pick up every single one of these silly little things. And when the leaves start to come up, I have to, zap them. So what's in there now is potatoes. I don't know what color potatoes those are. It must have been one of those, 1/4 inch in diameter potatoes that's left over from harvesting that just got mixed. So it's growing and it's happy. I'm going to leave it for now. I have just today turned off the irrigation in here because I need to be eliminating about 3/4 of the pots. And because we're home, I can come out once a day and water and it'll be just fine. So this is going to stay potatoes for now. My guess is Adirondack blue, but I could be wrong. We'll know when we actually dig them up. This bucket here contained previously, it's a bit messy now. It had, because I just pulled out some plants, it had Hannah's Choice, which was a cantaloupe, because we decided to try cantaloupe in here this year because we just simply didn't get the work done in the yard that was necessary in order to grow cantaloupe in the yard. My hope is that next year we'll be able to grow cantaloupe in the yard. But if we can't, I will try it again in here. We actually had multiple fruits set in here. And the reason we didn't get any cantaloupe was because we had a rodent get in. There is a spot down here, and nothing's gotten in here for quite a while. But of course it happened while we were gone. Down here, you can see where they're getting in. They dug themselves a hole underneath the wall and came in. And this is what they've been doing, is stuff like this. Munch, 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 munch. Eating tomatoes. There's a couple of them in here right now that are chewed on. I did not pick them up because let them come back and chew on the same tomatoes. I have done my best to do a casual block off outside. They did a huge amount of damage in here while we were gone. They ate all of the small kohlrabi, all the babies that were in here that were about that tall when I left them, were munched off completely. The pak choi was very badly cut back. Now, the trimming you see on there now is mostly from me. We've been taking individual leaves and putting them in soup. So, starting from the end down here again. Tomatoes again, yes, next year. The dwarf tomatoes definitely, and I may even start those earlier than early, if you know what I mean. Because I can put them into small containers and then get them out here, put them under double closures if necessary. And you see even now how many tomatoes are on here. And these darn things are delicious. Now, unfortunately, right now they have bugs. This is probably a combination of thrips and aphids. That's because there was a giant husk cherry in there that was kind of covering them up and providing them with a little bit of protection. So I'm leaving that for now. It's not supposed to be super, super cold tonight. All I'm doing at night right now is I close this fan here to make sure that there's no air being drawn through, and I have it turned off so that it won't go off accidentally, and it's some odd hour because the sun, one of the problems with this setup is it has a thermometer right here. But when the sun gets way over here, it will shine on this and make it seem warmer than it is in here. Now, Henry came out the other day and he filled these buckets up for me. So all three of these buckets are now full of water, which is awesome because they will gather heat during the day and let it out at night. Also, the cover that we have on the outside of the greenhouse here that makes this look like a silver spaceship reflects the infrared heat back into the greenhouse. So that is one of the reasons I'm not fussing right now with trying to do anything about keeping this thing warm. Now, you'll notice the dwarf tomatoes still have tomatoes. This is Shelby. It still has some tomatoes, and it's really not doing too badly. So I'm going to leave this for now. Pak choi has come back nicely. Basil is done. I mean, it's a summer plant, and it's really done. I'm going to double check. I don't have time to spend a million hours on this today. I picked a bunch of fruit that was still good. And some of this I'm going to allow to ripe in the house. It's got mud on it because I set it in the thing there. It's not actually corroded. It's just muddy. But I've got a nice little pile here. I already have a previous pile in the kitchen. So we actually had some really nice tomato stuff for lunch today. And we have more. The Amanda oranges that we have in the, which is what this is here, that we have in the kitchen are lovely. And they're making great salads and things. We had a caprese salad last night. It was delicious. Now this is thyme. Thyme is a perennial. I decided to plant, I tried to plant a bunch of thyme this spring. I only had like 1 or 2 plants come up, and I decided that since I lost the thyme that I planted outside last year, I was going to try leaving it inside and seeing if I could get a big healthy plant before I stuck anything outside. So this bucket had a dwarf tomato, actually 2 dwarf tomatoes because there was another one back here that didn't make it. Some basil, which I just chopped off, and then it's got a thyme plant in it. My plan for next year is that this thyme plant go out in the garden. We have a bunch of herbs in the garden like rosemary and thyme. We do have sage. We don't have any parsley. For those of you who get the reference, that shows how old you are. But I'm going to keep it in here. I'll probably overwinter it in here. It just makes more sense. We don't use a huge amount of time, but I still might harvest a little bit. We'll see. I'll probably just leave it be for the winter. The cucumber is done. This is an old cabbage. I might harvest it and see if there's anything worthwhile in here. That was a long season cabbage, and that pot was mostly taken over by husk cherries, and we kind of let it go. We did harvest some husk cherries off of there, but I'm not going to do that again. It's just not worth the mess. Most of the messiness in here of bugs and stuff is all centered around the husk cherries. So down at this end, I don't know if you could see me working down here when I was just running the camera before. I grew some dill, and this is a different variety of dill. I got it from Johnny Select Seeds this year, and I decided to try it, and it was awesome. It really, I mean, you can see this is I've got a ton of these seeds. We did harvest a bunch of dill fronds, the little leafy bits, for use in Henry's cucumber salads. I only had one plant come up, unfortunately. It was that fail we had on terms of seedlings this past spring. But I have got a huge collection of dill seeds off of this. So I have a bucket right now here that's full of some of the seed heads that I've collected. I've already got a bunch of seed heads that have been cleaned in the kitchen, and the seeds are already in a prescription jar. I guess that's what we use it for. I definitely would consider growing that again. Plus, I also have some wild dill seeds from California. Now, I may just try growing those outside, because if they can make it there, they might be able to make it here, and I only say might. But I'm willing to give it a try. Well, I'll have to check with Henry. I'm not sure that some of the things that were supposed to have been recorded were recorded. But I'll check with him, and we'll see. If not, I'll just have to talk about it sometime later.